What's going on, guys? It's the last investigation of 2021, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been a wild ride and a hell of a learning experience, as well as a learning curve. And tonight I'm coming from Kitchener, Ontario, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm staying at the Walper Hotel. And I'm being so honest that they didn't want me doing a paranormal investigation. And I even questioned putting its name up there and talking about the place. So much, in fact, that all the research that I've done, I've tried to take the name out of it. But as a last minute decision, I decided to let you guys know that I am, in fact, at one of Canada's most haunted locations. The reason why this place is haunted is it has a dark, very dark and brutal past. Okay, to begin with, Kitchener wasn't even Kitchener. Kitchener became Kitchener in 1916. I'm talking about Kitchener, Ontario. Up until then, it was known as Berlin. Yes, that's right. The reason it was changed from Berlin to Kitchener is because of the anti-German settlement movement that happened in, around World War I. Now, the Walper Hotel became the Walper Hotel in 1892-93. Up until then, it was called the Walper House. Okay. As the Walper House, it eventually caught fire and burned to the ground and became one of the biggest catastrophic events in Kitchener's history. The reason it was that is because in that fire, it ended up taking the lives of over 417 people, or so they say by record. But it doesn't stop there, okay? Abel Walper, who came in, basically rebuilt the place and fixed it with modern lighting and everything, and it became the definition of richness and old world grandeur and opulence. Okay, it was the home to extravagant balls, these so-called political rallies, and these parties that went on until the early morning. And they were allowed to do that because Abel installed all this new modern electrical lighting, okay, back in 1893 or whatever it was. Now, the Walper started to get a huge name for itself. In the early 20th century, it's seen many famous guests come through the doors, including Eleanor Roosevelt, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, what a wonderful world, you know, that guy, the Queen's mother, and even today's artists such as Sarah McLachlan, Madonna, Lady Gaga, they all stayed here. Stephen King has stayed here, and I'm wondering if his stay had anything to do with one of the novels that was adapted into a film back in the 70s. You might have heard of it. Involved Jack Nicholson, all work and no play makes something, you know. But through all this glitz and glamour, a masquerade, if you will, it covers the tragedy and the reality of the Walper's dark and haunted past. The 417 people that died inside this fire that happened back in 1892, I wasn't even trying to connect that number with anything. But not only that, but all the unsolved murders, the brutal slangs, the violent gangland executions. Chicago's Al Capone stayed here and devised his plans for running booze during Prohibition. He set up multiple checkpoints. In fact, the basement in here was called Rum Runners, the Rum Runners pub, for a long time. And I believe that had to do with Al Capone. The Walper now has gone through many changes over the years. It was once an elegant filled with Victorian decor and enchantment, and now it's a more modern, chic, gentrified urban aesthetic. But one thing remains the same. The building is riddled with the history of pain, anger, death, and perhaps infested with malice from the spirits that are still tethered here. In my research, staff and guests have been able to account for at least 5 spirits from the past who still reside on the premise. And with each story behind them, it's easy to see why they have such a hard time trying to leave the Walper Hotel. To understand these spirits, we have to kind of go back in history, and I'm going to take you there from the beginning, before this place was actually the Walper. We can start with Frederick Gockel, the original owner on which the site of this hotel sits. The original building was known as Gockel's Tavern and was built all the way back in 1835. And the sightings of an apparition matching Gockel's can often be found in the basement of what was once known as Rum Runner's Pub. Pub goers often feel a watchful gaze on them as they sit at the bar. Okay, many believe that that is the spirit of Frederick Gockel, still here, watching patrons enjoy a couple drinks at a bar at a tavern that he once owned. I can see why he'd want to stick around for that. The second is Abel Walper, the man who was the second owner of the hotel and was responsible for its restoration. He is the one that brought it back to the grand opening after the fire that happened that claimed the lives of 400 and some odd people. The grand opening happened in 1893, a year after the fire, and Abel is recognized as a tall, skinny man with abnormally long fingers and a mustache. I don't know, apparently the guy's got like long ass fingers on him. It says that he is most often sighted exiting and entering the main elevator, or sitting at the piano in which was located in the grand ballroom. Now, I don't know if the grand ballroom is still there. Like I mentioned, they didn't even want me here. One word of saying that I was a paranormal investigator, they basically turned me away, but I was able to get a room here anyways, and I'm doing this shit undercover. Okay, they're trying to cover up the past of this place. They don't want to be associated with anything paranormal. Okay? Which brings us to the next spirit that resides here. And even talking about this, like my hair on my arm starts to stand up. The young woman's name was Prudence Thackeray. And tragedy struck for her. Okay, she was a young maid and she loved her job here. In 1895, Prudence Thackeray began working here at the Walper, and she loved intermingling with the upper echelon of the society that was here. However, this ambitious young woman's life was cut short when on October 13th, 1898, on one of her routine inspections, room 417, the room that I am staying in, 417, the same number of people who had lost their lives in that tragic fire that burned this place to the ground originally. Get this, she was coming to do a routine inspection here, and when she opened the door, something happened, and it was an explosion, and people said that it was a faulty gas line. other rumors swirled that there was some sort of nefarious guest here who had a grenade. I don't know how the grenade went off. Either way, Prudis, when she went to do the routine inspection, she was caught in an explosion that happened. And this explosion caused her to be badly burned. Now, it was bad enough that it didn't kill her on the spot, but she did end up succumbing to her wounds a couple days later. And when you kind of take that in, this room was a room that caused her to lose her life. Now guests say that when they come up to this floor, that they see a woman in a maid's uniform, not of this time period. It said that she has loved this place so much that even in death she still clings to this hotel. In this room, guests have reported hearing footsteps, knocking inside the closet, tug on the clothing, and I don't know how true this is, but guests have also reported having their blankets pulled off of them in the middle of the night and being found neatly folded on the floor in front of the bed. Just take that in for a second. In 1895, this young maid that was working at this hotel went to go check on a room. Boom, the next thing you know, explosions. She's burned. Pretty much should have killed her on the spot. It did not. But a couple of days later, she succumbed to her wounds and died. And apparently her spirit still haunts this place. I can feel that as being pretty fucking heavy. What's heavier than that is probably one of the most disturbing and unsolved cases of this place. It's the story of a bellhop that worked here from 1902 to 1908. His name is Reginald Bleecker. At first, he was a seemingly innocent and charming man, but a journal that was kept by the hotel's manager states otherwise. As Bleecker was repeatedly scolded for seducing and harassing female staff, and was also reprimanded many times for coming to work drunk, inebriated. The biggest controversy that happened with Bleecker had to do with an unsolved murder of a young woman who checked in on November 15th in 1907. Bleecker had took her up to her room 1408, which is obviously right beside room 1407, which is right there. And that was the last time she was ever seen alive. At sunrise the next morning, hotel staff had found the young lady's lifeless body on the sidewalk directly below room 1408. Examination of the room had proven no forced entry, and the only thing that was there was an open window. They were going to rule the death as suicide until the coroner was able to pull a tuft of dark wavy hair or whatever from her hands. One would assume that this hair belonged to her murderer. Now, correspondence between the manager and staff created a cloud of suspicion about Bleecker, and a maid stating that she had seen him leaving the woman's room dazed and upset. On top of that, the hair went missing from the police station evidence. And before long, everybody soon dropped their suspicions about Reginald. It was about a year later that Reginald Bleecker quit his job and ended up at the Gladstone Hotel in Toronto working as a concierge. And it wasn't until about 30 years later that he returned to this hotel as a guest. And guess what? He requested room 418. The next morning, the staff discovered his dead body. Reginald Bleecker had hung himself from a light fixture and left a note pinned to the closet door that only read 2 words that said, "I'm sorry." Now, ever since, guests have reported seeing a man that looked like Reginald Bleecker in a long leather coat, and that was something that Bleecker often wore to and from work. And he's been often sighted in the lobby, traveling up and down the central staircase as well, or walking outside along the sidewalk where the young woman's body was found. Probably one of the most disturbing cases about here at the Walper. In all fairness, it brings us to one of the most kindest spirits here, and that would be Joseph Zuber Sr. He owned this hotel from 1910 until his death in 1935. So intertwined with the city's social life, he was a businessman who owned many hotels and was a larger-than-life character. He was a loved fixture in the city's atmosphere. He spent his working hours as well as his free time at the hotel. And one very cold evening in the winter of 1935, Joseph died in his sleep in a room on the 4th floor. It's said that this hotel was the crown jewel of his career and the pride of his heart, so it's no wonder that his spirit would still be tethered to this building. And there's been many reports of guests that have cited him matching his description, stating that the guest encounters with him have been a positive experience, as if his magnetic personality is still trying to assure the guests a wonderful experience even after he's passed. Now, it has been stated that this hotel is truly one of the most haunted buildings in Canada, and it has inspired writers and filmmakers with the spirits and entities that still roam its halls. It's about 11:38 tonight, and I have a plethora of tools with me, and I'm wondering if we can communicate and interact with any of these rumored apparitions that still reside here at the Walper Hotel. You gotta be shitting me. So, I'm not sure why that is acting as sporadic as it does, but I got that on camera. In fact, that's on. Whoever was lighting that up, touch that black box right beside it and let me know. Whoever was touching that, touch this right here and set that off. Okay, so I have been here for a while now, and I'm noticing that the EMF meter is slowly picking up on some readings. I see you bringing your energy here, and you're touching this thing that's in my hand. Yes, like that. Can you make it yes, higher like that. Bring your energy here. Who's here? Make sure that this light over here. I am here to communicate with any of the spirits that are still here at the Walper Hotel. You can let yourself be known by touching this device here. You can touch this device here. You can set this one off. I have a mic set up in the room. It's EMF meter. I just put a new battery in it tonight, so hopefully it works okay. Set this REM pod down. I'm gonna set this guy over by the door. I'm going to start an EVP session right now, and we'll see if anything comes through with that. Is there anybody here right now? Is there anybody that wants to make themselves known? Make use of everything that I have in this room right now. It's yours to give me a sign that you're here, whether it's Prudence, Reginald, Joseph, Abel, Frederick, or any of the other 400 plus people, or anybody else that has lost their life here at the Walper. Give me a sign. Say something into this device in my hand. Joseph, are you still around? Use of everything that I have in this room right now. It's yours to give me a sign that you're here, whether it's Prudence, Reginald, Joseph, Abel, Frederick, or any of the other 400 plus people, or anybody else that has lost their life here at the Walper. Give me a sign. Say something into this device in my hand. Joseph, are you still around? Prudence, I heard you still like to come to this room and fold sheets. Is that true? Giving me big spikes on this. Prudence, I heard you still like to come to this room and fold sheets. Is that true? Sorry, that was me. This thing is spiking big. Who's spiking this device in my hand right now? You want to let yourself be known? Give me a knock on the wall, a bang, something. I'm feeling the goosebumps. Who's in this room right now? Who's in this room right now? Okay, I am getting spikes on the EMF. Was spiking, it's not now. Here I'm getting crazy little temperature fluctuations. There. I think I'm going to. Okay, I'm gonna go set up my fucking SLS right now, and see if we can map anything out in the room. Whoever was going for that chair, can you go there again? Neighbors. give me a name? Prudence, are you here? What? Can you say that again? It just said Prudence. Whoever's here, can you make any of these devices go off? Like this one on the bed? Or this one that's in my hand that you were doing before? What's that? Keep saying Prudence. What?
I know what to hear.
You hear that then? I'm not crazy. Did it just say every guest? Is that Joseph? Joseph, if that's you, give me a sign. Can you make this device in my hand light up?
It says Prudence and then it says she's here.
Well, who's speaking for her? But she's not speaking for herself. Hi Prudence, how are you? You still here at the old Walper, eh? What was that bang? That just went off. What about Reginald? Is Reginald still around? Uh-huh. Who is the strongest spirit here that I can communicate with? Can you give me a name? How come you're not talking now? You got it. You got me. What was that? Hurt? I heard hurt. Pretty bad? Is Prudence, I would assume that you were the one that was hurt pretty bad with the explosion. Do you know what happened? Was it a faulty gas line? What? What did that say? I know there's somebody here trying to communicate with me. Can you let me know who it is? I think that was me that set that off. You want to light this one up again? We're outside. We're here? Who's we? I also realize that there may have been hundreds of people who lost their lives here. Are any of those folks with us? It's a little hard for me to understand who's trying to talk or who is talking. So I'm going to stop this communication, okay? Thank you for attempting to communicate with me. Again, I have a device here. Feel free to touch, as well as any other of the devices around this room. Oh my god, I just started getting a fucking headache hardcore. Okay. Turn that off. Handy little device, modified spirit box. There's definitely something trying to come through and communicate. What it is, who it is. I don't know. So I just did a quick spirit box session, and it seemed like there was some sort of voices or some sort of responses starting to come through, and I'm not sure who it was that was trying to communicate. So I'm going to go a little bit more advanced with a digital app, the one that like a lot of people are skeptical about, but I got a feeling that we might be able to pull something out of it. So let's try that. Who's here? Here? Hi. Whiskey, eh? How about this? Can you knock somewhere inside this room? No? The fuck was that?
I don't know.
Was that you? Woman. Can you tell me what room I'm in? Do what? What? It just started going off. Who is that? Can you touch it again? Whoever's right behind me? Do it again. What? Alright, you're not really giving me any solid responses. The device that's behind me, do you want to touch it again? Can everybody what? Well, if you can make a little bit more sense, I could communicate with you. is it possible for you to interact or communicate with me in a way that I would be aware that you're trying to communicate with me? Because right now I have no idea. You can set this thing off here. You can set this thing off here. Again, you can touch this thing back here. So I'm gonna do EVP. If there's anybody here, feel free to speak into this device that's in my right hand. Feel free to say anything you want. If there's anybody here, feel free to speak into this device that's in my right hand. Feel free to say anything you want. Do you want to relay a message to me at all? Do you want to communicate to me in any way? Do you want to relay a message to me at all? Do you want to communicate to me in any way? Nothing coming through. Got a lot of noise pollution in the background.
Obviously, local fucking Kitchener folk are trying to drive their fucking John Deere through the street. It is actually a fucking John Deere. I wasn't joking.
Street corner.
What?
Street. Somebody's about to street race.
What?
Somebody's about to street race.
That's why I do it. Who was that? came back right by the closet. Okay, you can show yourself. You startled me for a second. Hi. Hello? There's a big one and a small one. Is that somebody? You want me to move? Got a massive fucking headache over here.
Who's that? Who's trying to communicate? Is that Morse code again? I'm going to set this right here on the chair. You want to touch it? You still can. Yeah, you can touch that. It's all right. Make it go off again. God, what the fuck is that? Oh, oh,
Darren, what?
oh,
What?
what the fuck?
Ew.
Oh my God.
That's disgusting. Put it in the garbage.
Where did that come from?
The carpet. Obviously, they don't vacuum in
It
here.
literally, I don't know if you, ew, and there's like fucking shit in it. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't even know what to fucking do with it. It's like, yeah, it's gross, I know. Put this in the sink. Look. Oh, fuck off. Oh, it's like stuck to me. Oh, look at that. That just got on my fucking feet from out of nowhere. That is the grossest shit ever. Ugh. That's fucking nasty ass fucking hairs. Not right. Yeah, our camera's still going. You want to touch this anymore? What is it? It's 2:25. It's 2:25 in the morning. Still waiting for a sign. I left the infrared camera going, and hopefully it should record all night. SLS camera is going right beside me. That's not gonna make a difference though. I got REM pods set up all over the room. I'm gonna try to get some sleep, and we'll see if anything happens. If I hear anything, I got the camera right beside me. I'll pick it up and be able to record right away. So, out of sleep, the REM pods just started going off and woke me up. Who's there? Who's hitting what? Not getting much. I was having a weird dream though. This one here. What are you doing? Okay. It's like almost 4 in the morning, so I'm gonna turn them off and I'm gonna go back to sleep. I don't know if I'll get any more weird vibes. Good morning, guys. So last night was interesting. About 3 or so in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I called it. The REM pods just started going nuts. At first, I just little beeps here and there. I tried to ignore it, but eventually it got so loud and so bad that I had to get up, and I didn't really investigate what was going on. I documented the fact that they were going off, but I was so tired that I turned them off and just went back to bed. It's about 9:30, 10 o'clock now. I'm gonna get coffees cleaned up. Our checkout's at 11. So I want to pack up all my gear and get the fuck out of here. Ideally, this wasn't an easy location to get into. Like I said, they didn't even want me here. In fact, they told me that I couldn't film and all this stuff, and kind of had to switch the dates around and change names just to get in here with what I did. And it wasn't a huge investigation, but I did pick up on some relevant evidence. Voices came through on the spirit box. The REM pods going off at 3 in the morning. I had the SLS camera and some stick figures. I think I caught one big stick figure with a smaller stick figure behind it, probably an adult and a child. There was a big one standing on the bed. There was one against the wall. So hopefully that evidence is relevant. My infrared light cam that I had was supposed to stay on, but it didn't for some reason. I was having a lot of problems with that. Motion sensor lights kept going on and off all night long by the window. But other than that, that's basically the gist of it. I am extremely tired. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep. and I'm gonna get some coffee in me and, clean up and get out of here. Again, I wish I could have had a bigger investigation for my last one for 2021, but like I said, it was such a hassle trying to get in this place, and you can see why. Anyways, my name's Darren. It's been Northern Paranormal. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.